Welcome to Dentistry Gone Wild, the official podcast of mobile and teledentistry. Thank you for listening. I am Melissa Turner, your co-host, and I am here with my BFF, Sonya Dunbar. Sonya, what do you have to say?
Welcome to our official podcast of Dentistry Gone Wild, and I'm so glad to be here with you all today because you know what, Melissa? I'm sharing one of our secret weapons with these people.
Okay.
They must know we must love our team. I have a dear young lady on here with us, our guest, Mrs. Kimberly Culp. Mm-hmm. She is a mentor to me. She's a mentor, and she's younger than me, but she's just a sweet person. She's entrepreneur, and she's going to talk about things that she's done. She's done things in dentistry that many dentists haven't done.
There we go.
But the thing about Kimberly that I really love is she has a pure heart and she's honest and authentic. And she stole the show at the conference.
Oh,
everybody was saying, you say unstuck. I say, she's going to talk about it. She's going to talk about it. Let me get Kimberly on here. Kimberly, let me get her on here. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello. When I say you get unstuck, you say unstuck.
Unstuck.
Evolve. When I say you get unstuck, you say unstuck and evolve.
People are still talking about that, Kimberly. They're still talking about it.
Yay. That means that we were effective, that we spoke to their hearts, and that they're on their way to being unstuck. And that's what's important.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hey, ladies.
Hey. How
you doing?
We're amazing. So,
Sonya, you're old. You older than me?
Yes, baby. This week I'll be 50 plus 2. That's a brand new chapter, and I'm so sexy with it. Oh my gosh, I just got myself all hot and flashy. Baby, I'm super sexy, baby.
Yes, you are. You only have me by 2 months. No, baby, you really only have me by a month. Your birthday's in April?
My birthday's March 31st.
Oh, March 31st. So you have me by 2 months. I'll be 52 too.
But you have to respect your elders. So I am still older than you now. So please, let's just stay alive.
I'm going to sit in my place, dear heart, and do what I am supposed to do.
You know, we from that. Melissa won't hear that, but me and you from that age group. You respect your elders. I have an auntie that's like 1 day older than me, and I have to respect her. I'm like, girl, you about to get your eyeballs pulled out. You're not about to tell me what to do. You 1 day older than me. But Kimberly, talk to us about Unstuck. Talk to us about everything you're doing. I wanted you to tell about you. No one can introduce you better than you.
Okay, so what causes me to want to, I guess, sing and speak of being unstuck? I was once stuck. Where do I begin? I technically raised myself from age 15. My dad was shot and killed. I'm from Compton, California, from the streets of Los Angeles County, and born and raised. My dad was shot and killed when I was 13 years old. A lot changed in our household from there. I was in a all-girl private school, shifted from there to public school. So a lot changed in my life. And being a daddy's girl, not understanding death and shootings, and although I lived in the city, we lived in a very nice side of town, and we never experienced those, drive-by shootings until it came to our address. Yeah. And so from there, my mom ended up on crack cocaine, and I raised myself from age 15. And in that time, I never really had anyone to talk to share with, to tell those things that I really want to talk about with, even at my church. And so I was always a young church-going little kid, went to church by myself a lot. And so I just never got unstuck. And then as I got ready to go to college, went to college with a little bun in the oven. Y'all know what a bun is.
Yeah.
Cooked me up a baby.
A baby.
So I was left trying to get a 2-year a degree and make the best of still being stuck. And it wasn't until I had my son, and then the rubber really begins to meet that road, and you have to figure it out, and you have to learn how to be happy if you want your children to be happy. And so I started then on a road to really being unstuck and living a life of happiness. And that meant the people around me and the atmosphere that I was in, I need to help create the atmosphere that I wanted to be in. And so had gone to school to be a dental assistant in California. So when I got here, it was all about happiness in my workplace. And I worked with dentists who, would yell and fuss at you about x-rays. And I was just like, we are not going to do this. We're going to learn how to treat one another. We're going to learn how to speak to one another. Okay. And we're going to learn how to not create other stuck situations, because you don't know what I have going on at home. You don't know what my issue is. And so to come to work and to be focused and to show that care, because in dentistry, it's about care. Okay. It's a care business. And if you don't have a caring heart, if you don't have a happy spirit, it's hard for people to receive you while you're in their mouth. And so I started getting my doctor unstuck too.
Oh, how hard was that?
Very hard. So I focused then on how to get the atmosphere that I worked in happy. And it was a jewel for the people that I worked around. It was a jewel for my employer. And it became what I consider to be a staple in my leadership and where I was headed. And after being fired, I started my own dental staffing company and began to lead and help consult dentists on having better leaders as their dental assistants were kind of left behind. And from there, it just skyrocketed. I started a staffing company. Now I'm 5 companies into our game, and I'm still keeping people focused and unstuck, and helping create programs now that provide an avenue for people to get unstuck that have different situations, but a basic avenue for that individual that's ready to take that step.
I had to hold myself back the whole time. I wanted to say amen, like every other word.
Say it, baby. Amen.
Because this is exactly what we need. I mean, dentistry has needed it for a while, but Sonya and I often talk about how we're starting to see this new type of community in the dental profession. And it's one where we are unstuck. It's one where we know how to communicate as a team and as an employer to an employee and to our patients, and with empathy and active listening and all these things. So if there was one thing that you could tell those who are listening, how do you become unstuck? What is the key to that, especially in dentistry?
So the first key is that you acknowledge that you're stuck and that you're ready to be unstuck. So some people like misery, and even though they know they're stuck, they're not interested in getting unstuck. But then there's another group of individuals who are looking, hungry, searching for something. Maybe they don't have enough money. Maybe they don't want people to know really what has them stuck, because a lot of what has us stuck is things that we have in the dark that we cannot tell others. Mm-hmm. And so I get to share and hear others share with me the most private, personal, heartbreaking information that releases, that's their first release, that they can talk about it, and that they have made that step to deal with it. And from there, we find resources and we get them on their way. So what I would tell them is make the step, acknowledge that you have an issue and call for help.
And Kimberly, I'm so glad you shared that. I'm so glad you said that, because I want to put something in right here. Mobile and teledentistry, it's lonely. Mobile dentistry, and I always say this, it's a lonely process, because when you're in the brick and mortar building, you come in, the office manager is there, the dental assistant is there, maybe another hygienist and a couple of dentists or whatever. But that's your little nucleus at work. But in mobile dentistry, it just may be a dentist going out on their own, or a hygienist going. The dentist met the day before and done the exams, and the hygienist is there, or the dentist is within so many miles. So you're traveling alone. And I'm going to be very vulnerable here, because I know that there are people that are stuck, and I know that you're the person to help them get unstuck. You've unstuck me and didn't even know it. And you checked me and helped me in so many ways when I was derailing. But I want to say this. I remember when I was working for a mobile company, and I was going out on my own, traveling up and down the roads in Florida, and I was going through my divorce, and I was alone with all of those things in my mind. And I had to go into a nursing home where people were at the end of their life, depressed and dying.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them were on hospice. So I'm stuck. I'm coming in with all this on me and giving it to my poor patients who does not deserve to have that bad energy. And I know who you are, so I know you're not going to mind me sharing this. I know for a fact that you lived homeless in your car, was in a very abusive relationship, and you became unstuck. So you just did a little borderline. But give us some ABC, just 3 quick steps, because there may be people listening to this who is in an abusive relationship that's in a mobile practice, because that's a dentist, hygienist, doctor, whatever, men, women, however that looks for you.
Yes.
But how can that? Because if you're already at least in a dental office, I remember you can go in a bathroom and maybe somebody hear you crying, but no one. When you're mobile, you're kind of alone. And that's a bad place to be. Mm-hmm. When you're alone and you're stuck.
When you're alone, stuck, and you are harboring a lot of hurt inside, that builds up inside of you. So now you're dealing with 2 things. Yes, you're alone, but what you're alone with is more dangerous than you just being alone, because now you have something that is keeping you not well and not focused. And so if I had to, right now, someone's listening to me and they're in an abusive relationship, or they are the abuser, because I help abusers get unstuck. See, it is very important that we focus on the abuser, because if they never get unstuck, they just go to the next person. And we never get to resolve that cycle. We just put another person in danger.
That's good.
So I know that I'm speaking to not just someone that is stuck from being abused, but someone that is stuck and you are the abuser. Mm-hmm. And if I had to leave you with something right now, it would be this. Today is your day to make that step. You're listening and you know it's not right. You're listening and you know that you need to make the step. But there's a lot of issues and things that surround that. And so one step leads to another step. The first thing you have to do is say, I'm ready for help. And when you say it, you have to mean it.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that you jump on the phone and start calling and telling everybody I'm ready to leave and this, that, and the other. No, it takes time to leave someone. It takes time to decide how you're going to do this. But what you have done today is decided that you want to get unstuck, that you want to make that step, that you want to get out of that situation. And so then we have to, once you make that step, you can call me. Let's air it right now. I'm going to make sure that my number is added to this so that we can deal with it head on. And so you guys, for the person that's listening right now, you have to decide that today's the day. I want to get unstuck. This can't be this way anymore for me. And then you call me. Because no matter where you are, no matter your situation, you really have to have someone listen to your whole situation. There's not a situation that fits everyone, but there is a situation for you.
I like that. I like
Okay.
that.
And so what we have to do is hear out what your situation is. And then I have resources. I know all kind of people. And there's not too much that's going to blow my mind or that I can't hear. Not as a minister, not as a woman, not as a wife, not as a mother, not as a human being. No one deserves to be hit on, spit on, urinated on, punched, or any of that. So if you're the person doing it, today's your day. You can give it up. There is someone that loves you. There is someone that can listen to the horrible things that you've done and to be able to pick you up and decide that today's a day that I'm going to turn. And then you can help other abusers. See, the calling is on your life to help change a nation of other abusers. But it starts with you. Speaking that thing away and out of your life. But you got to have the right people lined up with you, and they need to hear your situation. Okay? And so those two things right there starts us on the track. Now, let's say someone is just too embarrassed. I do not want to call Kimberly Culp because I hear some stories. I recently in our one of our groups received a call from a woman who was so embarrassed, but thought after hearing me at our conference, and she wasn't there, but she was on live.
Wow.
And then she heard something that I said again, and it came to her. And so what she said was that her husband had been urinating on her, and he did it in front of their children. She hadn't even told that to her mother. And she may be listening right now. And I'm telling her again to keep it going. We already have our thing going. And so now you're helping someone else because someone else gets to hear your story that they think is so bad that they cannot tell someone. They can. Mm-hmm. Maybe this time we're going to get the abuser. Maybe there's a doctor or a hygienist or a dental assistant or someone that is on this live right now who does the urinating, who does the spitting and the hitting. All of that can be changed. Okay. It is not the end of the world, and you are redeemable. And there's a promise in heaven for you too. Okay. So what I say to those individuals is take a step and call for help. And if you don't want to call for me, call for someone else.
404-936-7704. And Kimberly, I'm saying that because this is going to show on YouTube and Facebook, but it's showing on YouTube and Facebook, but people are on the podcast and they cannot see what you typed in. And she typed in 404-936-7704. And dentistry needs this. So many times I've heard my dentist say, check it at the door. Check what at the door, dude?
Check at the door. You're a human being. It's impossible to check your feelings at the door.
So Kimberly is at 404-936-7704.
If you don't, I don't answer because there's no telling how many people that's like, dang, she just put her phone number out. I sure did. I have ways of blocking those that I don't need calling me. And so don't waste your time. And I also am open enough for that individual. See, we can't be choosy on how we help a human being. We got to help them right then and right then. Okay. And so we can't get dressed up to help someone. We can't say, oh, email me. No, someone may be going through and they need to call. And hopefully I answer the call. If I don't, it's because I'm with someone else or I might be asleep. But you can text me very easily and I'm reachable.
And what I wouldn't have given, and I don't know for those of you that don't know my story, but I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And for the first couple of years of being a mom, the postpartum depression was out of this world. It was beyond low, right? And what I wouldn't have given to hear your message today, Kimberly, to know that I could call you and say, I'm ready for help, because I went to places I didn't even know I could go to because I was so low and I didn't know who to go to for help. I didn't know who to go. I thought, I was at a point where I'm like, okay, this has got to be obvious. This has got to, my misery, my depression, my struggle has got to be obvious to those around me. So somebody come save me, right? That's where I was, because that was my story. And then I came to a point where I could start to vocalize it and start to kind of share it and talk it out loud and realize that I am not alone on this journey. So thank you, Kimberly, for those words today. And, you know, for all those moms out there and parents out there too, if you're struggling with postpartum depression and dentistry, that's a tough thing. That is a tough thing.
It is. And it's postpartum, it's drug abuse, alcohol abuse. And so it's the things that we do behind closed doors that has us stuck and locked up. And so, and we're afraid to share what that thing is, our idiosyncrasies, because we don't want someone to correct them with judgment. But there's two parts to judgment. There's that person that's going to hold you accountable to change. And that's
which
me.
we all need that sometimes.
And so I'm not going to judge you, but I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to keep you focused, because when we make that step, it's always something trying to pull us back there. And so you have to have something also that's your cheerleader pulling you forward, lifting you up, keeping you strong. And that's where I come in at. I'm not that individual that you call and do all that crying to and don't want to move, because I'm going to get you unstuck. I might hurt your feelings initially because you need to hear the truth. Not all of what someone else is doing to us is their fault. Sometimes it's ours.
Repeat that again one more time.
Not all bad that someone else is doing to us is their fault. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's what we've created, it's what we allow, and it's what we want. And so if you're any of those individuals and you're not ready to get unstuck, don't call me. Wait till you're ready to get unstuck. And I may not be the individual that can help you, but I bet I can get you some assistance. I bet I can point you in the right direction. I bet I could pray you a prayer that can start you on the way where your wings will fly so high you wouldn't even know you were stuck.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Prayer always works.
Now, Kimberly, you're a dental assistant. I know for a fact that you own the dental practice there in Georgia. And you also are doing something with the hemp and with funeral homes. Yes. So you're just a philanthropist and an entrepreneur that's just helping people, sharing, and just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I have a client who's been my client from day one. I've been in the staffing business for 25 years. And that client, Dr. Wyatt, and I talked about an urgent dental care. And I got an opportunity that fell in my lap from another client. And he agreed to partner up with me. And we opened up an amazing dental practice that was an urgent dental care. So we help people with toothaches after hours. It was a 24-hour practice. And it was amazing. Right before the pandemic, I had an offer from another dentist client who wanted that space, who wanted this location for his son that was going to be a pedodontist. And he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And it was also tying up a lot of my time. You already know that having a practice, you need to be there. And I had other ventures. And so it happened at a great time. Not did it just happen at a great time for me, but then the pandemic hit a month later.
Perfect.
So it was the best thing that ever happened to us. And from there, yes, I do hemp. In our dental practice, we provided natural hemp because we didn't want to write a bunch of prescriptions and opioids for patients. And that was one of Dr. Wyatt's concerns. And so we found a natural way to help patients with pain. And hemp is the most amazing natural plant that you can use for our skin, for inflammation, for fear, anxiety, and pain. So if we're having all of these things and it relates in dentistry, why can't we use it in dentistry? Yeah. And a lot of people think that cannabis is weed or marijuana. No, it's the cousin. And so cannabis, it's hemp. And the 2018 hemp bill that was signed creates an opportunity for us to have hemp and it not be in a schedule controlled substance category. $82 billion business. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
And so, and it's for naturals, meaning things that keep us relaxed naturally without opioids. And so our pharmaceutical companies are making billions of dollars on things that aren't well for us. And so why can't we introduce to our patients something that's more relaxing, more natural for them? And then you have the patient that comes in that you already smell the marijuana on them, and that's marijuana you smell. And you're trying to create a relaxed environment, yes, but now you have to deal with that adverse effect that your anesthesia may cause because they now have some chemical that they already had before they got there. Mm-hmm. So you have the opportunity right then and there to shift the patient. Go ahead and ask the patient, can you try them on something since you know they smoke and you can't stop them? At least give them something natural that doesn't have any chemicals in it. And then, of course, for gums, you guys are hygienists and you do a lot of senior care. How about the oral oil that we put sublingual is very good for any type of dental treatment, perio especially. It tightens up those pockets. Once you've done your deep cleaning, you pop it into those little pockets and voila. And so the patient gets to be calm, they have no pain, and they get a nice, good, swift healing process. And so it was a great happy accident. And now the hemp business we kept the rights to the urgent dental care, and you'll see some new things coming with that soon. But hemp in dentistry is an amazing accident. You're beginning to see it more.
Well, thank you, Kimberly, for sharing that. And thank you for the amazing nuggets you share with our guests today. Guys, you got a quick therapy session, education on hemp. You got it all in one nutshell. What do you think, Melissa?
I love it. I want more of it. So, Kimberly, I'm hoping you'll be at the next mobile conference so we can dive into this deeper, right? Because we all want more. Sure. We all want more. I can say that honestly.
More Kim.
More Kim. When I say you get unstuck, you say unstuck and evolve.
There you go.
Evolve 2022.
Evolve 2022 in Vegas.
Say it again.
So what goes on in Vegas stays stuck in Vegas.
Absolutely. Listen, Kimberly, thank you for being here. Thank you for gracing our podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for being at the National Mobile and Teledentistry Conference in Orlando. And we had a great time. Thank you, all of our listeners, for listening to us today. And please click like and share this video wherever you're watching it. Thank you for streaming with us. And we'll be back again with you next Monday, right, Em?
That's right. We will see you next Monday. Love you all.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Dentistry Gone Wild, the official podcast for mobile and teledentistry. You can subscribe to our channel wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you're enjoying the show, please leave us a review.